Welcome to the Market Moment. My name is Matt Walters, and I'm here with Lee Mackey and Isaac Johnson today. And we're going to get into some good topics, some good conversation today. But just wanted to start with, for those listeners out there that are in Northwest Arkansas and the surrounding community, I know we've had a tough weekend over Memorial Day as we got hit with several tornadoes out in the Decatur and Rogers and Bentonville area. We have a lot of people here on our staff and on our team that have been impacted without power, damage to their homes. And I know a lot of our team has been out and about this weekend trying to help with cleanup. But just our thoughts and prayers go out with everybody who's struggling. And, I know there's a long kind of road to full recovery here. This isn't something that we bounce back from in a day or two. It's going to be weeks and months of cleanup. But just want to know that thoughts and prayers are out there with you guys. And if you need any help, I honestly mean this, don't hesitate to reach out to the firm and let us know what you need. And we'll do everything possible we can if there's anything we can do to help you out.
Absolutely.
And, get you the help you need. So just wanted to mention that before we got going in here. So as always, remember to like and subscribe. Give us a comment. We prefer nice comments. Most of them tend to be not so nice, but whatever. Just a comment. A comment's better than no comment. So give us a comment, like, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. So want to start today. I don't have a whole lot to talk about this first topic, but T-Mobile buying U.S. Cellular's wireless operations in $4.4 billion deal. So a couple notes here. T-Mobile will buy almost all the regional carrier United States Cellular's wireless operation, including stores, 30% of its spectrum assets in a deal valued at $4.4 billion. T-Mobile, which has improved coverage for its customers, will fund the deal in a combination of cash and up to $2 billion of debt. At what point is T-Mobile a monopoly or buying too much? How do we define that? A couple of questions here. So what are your thoughts on this particular deal? I'm going to pull up a chart here in a second.
I think it's exciting to see merger activity beginning back again. It seems like, we went through a period a few years ago where, almost every week we were hearing about a merger, kind of dried up a little bit. That is an industry that probably you can continue to see some consolidation. T-Mobile's big. I don't hear, I don't know very many people in this area that have them. But I'll tell you what, speaking of T-Mobile, there's a hotel right down the street from our office here in Rogers.
I just saw that when I was.
Yeah. And it is full of T-Mobile trucks and generators.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the embassy on down the road, there's more T-Mobile services set up. So, they're, AT&T and Verizon are the two 800-pound gorillas in that business, but T-Mobile's got a big footprint, and I think they're looking to expand it. The last question that you were talking about, monopoly, when is too big? It'll of course have to pass the FTC, but as long as AT&T and Verizon are in the picture, I think they're good. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize what spectrum assets were.
Yeah,
And it's a quick Google search.
Yeah,
did you Google it?
Yeah, I did. You have to bid to buy the rights to radio waves. And so part of this acquisition was actually buying the rights to transmit signal.
Huh.
And so they bought 30% of U.S. Cellular's spectrum assets, and then they're leasing the other 70 out of them. So I think that includes not only the rights, but some of the towers to expand into the more rural areas, which I just drove to Hot Springs this weekend. Need some towers out there. That one was tough.
Yeah.
I don't know which way you went, but if you
the bad one.
If you went from Fort Smith around that way, or if you went to like Dardanelle, Russellville.
That's where I went. I went through Russellville and got a little car sick.
Highway 7's
no signal.
curvy.
The views are beautiful, but the cellular service is limited. Well, I pulled up T-Mobile's chart. So they're up 386% in the last 10 years, which is a little over 17% annualized.
Yeah.
And it's the chart. The chart looks good. Other than the end of the back half of 21, it's basically a smooth, steady line up.
Their CEO, very aggressive.
Yeah.
Flamboyant, outspoken.
Yep.
So yeah, not surprising. Like I said, it's good to see some merger and acquisition activity again.
The stickiness of cellular providers, I feel like, is real. Like the thought of me saying like we're with Verizon, and I'm gonna go to Verizon to T-Mobile. It's just like that. Just sounds like so daunting. Of like, and it probably isn't, but I don't know of that many people that are actually changing carriers. Do you? I mean, it's
no.
I say all that to say it's. If you're growing and doing it the right way, it's probably a really, really good business to be in because of that.
You know, a few years ago, I moved from AT&T to Verizon, and very easy because I don't even know if y'all had cell phones back before that, but there was a period to where
how old do you think we are?
I don't know, but do y'all remember when you had to change phone numbers? To change?
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. I do.
No, I've never had to change my phone number.
Well, but that was the law that was passed.
Yeah, you couldn't keep your phone number.
You could not.
Oh really?
Across carriers.
I remember when
when
like being able to, they used to have to do all kinds of crazy things to move over your contacts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you were like they were hardwiring stuff when you went into the store.
I missed that. Because now you go in and it's like everything syncs to the cloud.
Correct.
Isaac's 14, by the way.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, thanks.
He's 14 and 17.
I just got my first phone at Christmas, so super excited.
Still has parental controls on it. No, but that industry is changing. But I think you're right. There is a stickiness to that.
If you run it well and grow at a sustainable pace, then like the long term probably looks pretty solid because it's going to be hard for someone to come in and disrupt that.
And it's like huge way. You don't meet somebody that's always happy with their provider, but this is the conversation you hear. Oh, I am so frustrated with blank, but there's no way I could think about changing because to your point.
But as I say that, I'm sitting here thinking about you probably could have said and probably would have said the same thing about like cable back in the day. And then now the thought of having like cable or direct TV is just kind of like, why?
Yeah.
So somebody might figure it out and just blow the whole industry up. But all right, moving on to our favorite topic that just keeps coming back, GameStop. So GameStop stock surged as much as 22% on Tuesday. I'm not even going to get into all the notes here. What do we think about GameStop? What about this meme? I'm going to pull up the charts.
Do you want to know why it surged? It's the most backwards thing.
Are you on Reddit?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not at work.
Remember, he's 14.
Yeah, I'm 14.
Not at work.
Not at work, for sure.
Of course.
But no, GameStop issued or sold a bunch more shares to raise capital.
I saw that.
Which kind of seems
counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive. The stock's now up 22% after that. But raised almost $1 billion when the stock was up. And so that was one thing I wanted to talk about was that definitely seemed like a move that should dilute share price, and it went the wrong way.
Well, and the notes here speak to that. It says, if this were a normal market, people would be freaked out. You don't sell stock into the market if you think your stock is undervalued. You do it when you think your stock is overvalued. Yeah. So, interesting.
Which it was.
Yeah. And it still is.
Yeah. What they've given up, they saw the big spike a couple weeks ago, but that almost all of that's been given back. Not quite, but most of it.
The thing that I've noticed with my 14-year-old friends that made money during all of this back in the day, the GameStop, the NFT stuff, almost all of their money they made is gone because they made money in something that was like not sustainable and didn't have, the correct ideology to like, okay, I made this money, I'm going to put it somewhere safe now.
They didn't have an exit
strategy. They're looking for the next big thing, and gambling essentially is what it is. So
there's a lot of humility that has to be involved with if you hit something like that. One, you have to recognize it. You got lucky.
Yeah.
Right? And the humility to know that like I'm probably never going to do that again.
Yeah.
To that degree. So like let's not try to make this out to be some like repeatable decision process that I can now go out and like replicate of like, okay, I made a 1,500% return. And I had conversations with people like this. There were a couple that were like, hey, if I just do this, like I'm going to be worth 10 million, and it's like, but what just happened will never happen again.
If this coin only goes to a penny.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a billionaire.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
now, and correct me if I'm wrong. They're simply retail stores, correct?
Yeah.
That sell.
Yeah, I don't think they
sell and rent video games.
And that's it. And it said their plan with the $1 billion that they raised was to kind of look into some other things, and but I don't know how you could make video games pretty, except it's already 90% online anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the last time I saw a disc of a game.
Okay, my 14-year-old at
Yeah,
home,
yeah.
Every Christmas somebody gets him the latest Madden game
Sure.
or college football. Hey, in 25.
Coming out. I got my PTO lined up for that.
There you go. That's awesome. But I mean, to your point, it's digital. It's electronic.
Yeah.
You want a new game, just download it.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting. That was funny. Oh, my goodness.
Where's Isaac? He's playing video games. Like,
Tulsa's about to win their 3rd national championship, so.
yeah, maybe we should give you more of an intro at the beginning of this.
It's okay.
Big deal.
For those that are watching that are regulars, Isaac is a new financial advisor with our company.
Yeah.
Been here for 2 months.
2 months now. Mm-hmm.
So we're thrilled to have him on board with us, learning fast and furious, and already adding value. So we're glad to have you,
Awesome.
Isaac.
Yeah, it's been great. Loving it, learning a lot, and
Isaac is the proud father of a 2-month-old.
I have a
3-month-old.
3-month-old, 4 months on the 11th.
Yeah.
Of
This
June,
is
so.
the most awkward introduction ever, like 2/3 of the way.
2/3 of the way
podcast.
through.
2/3 of it. Yeah, my name's Isaac. I have a baby at home, and
His wife's
I'm new
name's
here.
Michelle.
My wife's name's Michelle.
It's glad to have you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I made it on the pod in 2 months. It's like, is it a record?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were desperate. So talking about this is very sensitive. I don't hardly ever go here anymore, but I was basically raised on this food. So McDonald's. So they rolled
Struck
out
a
this
nerve.
CosMc spinoff, which was, we were talking to Zoe before the podcast. It basically, my understanding is it's like the afternoon crowd, like snacks and drinks is kind of what they're trying to cater to. So trying to capture that afternoon snack crowd.
So what would a McDonald's snack be? With the little box of animal crackers that they used to sell back?
It's just kids' meals.
They're innovative, man. They got all kinds of stuff.
Apple slices.
From what I saw, it was mainly like drinks with like mix-ins, and you could customize it. And then my first thought was, it's Sonic.
Yeah.
Like little snack foods and drinks, but you can't. Sonic's not cool with the new generation, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, I think this is a perfect example of, any kind of business. You get to a point where you really have to start thinking outside the box and become innovative it's like, if we're going to keep growing for McDonald's, who I don't even know how many stores they have around the world. I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
There's like a stat, you can't drive 50 miles in any direction without a McDonald's in the U.S.
I mean, it's wild. So kudos to them. Yeah. Like, it's worked. Great company. Huge success. But if you're going to keep growing, the answer is not just we keep building more McDonald's. Right. And so now they're, I think, to this point of what money are people spending on food, snacks, and beverages that we're not capturing. Mm-hmm. And they found that, hey, this looked like a good opportunity. They're rolling it out. Most of the stores, they're going to roll out 10 more. Most of them are going to be in Texas, it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see if it's, productive and if others try to follow suit.
And it's interesting how long-standing companies like this continue to try to evolve and, and keep pace with changing demographics and taste and so forth. I mean, did you see, and I saw it maybe over the weekend, that Walmart is they've gotten out of the health business. We talked about that a few weeks ago, but they are increasing the size of some of their neighborhood markets.
Really?
They have 2 that have almost doubled or maybe even tripled in size. They're not the super center, but they are still that neighborhood market concept, but
just giant
just
groceries.
Bigger. Mm-hmm. Just bigger. Again, feeding probably more into the grocery side.
Well, that's their competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Against a lot of other retailers is the grocery side of things, from my understanding.
And you saw that with the earnings, comparing them to like a Target. Mm-hmm. I mean, and a lot of that was driven by the grocery side.
When I was down in Hot Springs, I actually drove past. I'd never seen one before. It was called DG Market.
Oh, I've seen those.
Dollar General with produce.
Yep.
And I never thought that I would see that in a million years.
Yeah. So interesting. It's not on our notes, but one thing that was somewhat newsworthy this past week was Nvidia.
Yeah.
And as compared to GameStop, there's reason
actually making money.
There's reasons behind Nvidia's, I don't even know what the
they're up
adjective.
100. So Nvidia
125% this year.
129.3% year to date.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
They're 3 year. Their 3-year chart. Hold on, let me pull up the annualized. They're up 633% over the last 3 years. That's annualized 94% return over the last 3 years.
And they've done it with expectations each quarter through the roof. And so,
sure,
you go into each end of the quarter or earnings period, and you think, even if they just meet expectations, the stock would fall because the stock price has been priced to perfection, and they just keep blowing it out of the water. And what we're beginning to see, and what we saw last week, and we're seeing it today a little bit, is what I kind of call, and maybe I should trademark it if it's any good, but it's like the Nvidia ATM.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't waste your time trademarking.
I like it, man. People are taking money out of other stocks.
Yeah.
And buying Nvidia.
We talked about that last week when the earnings came out and everything else was down.
Yeah.
And kind of joked like everybody's selling everything else to buy more Nvidia.
There was some truth to that. I mean, people.
Yeah. It's so hard because I don't know how much of that. How much do you think of that is on the retail side versus the institutional side? Because there's so much. If you're a large cap growth manager and you haven't been pretty heavily weighted in Nvidia, or at least equal weighted relative to the index,
you've underperformed.
You've underperformed, and
absolutely,
there's a ton of career risk.
Absolutely.
And how long do you stick with that thesis or that story and continue to underperform versus you just finally say, you know what, screw it, like we got to buy Nvidia, right? And that gets hard because
it's at 1,100.
Over the last 5 years, they've compounded at just under 100% a year for 5 years, right?
And to be honest with you, in the tech space, their stock price is not that expensive. Like on a relative basis. They're
not where they were like 2 years ago. Their
PE was way.
It was expensive. But kudos to them, they've grown into it.
I was gonna say, well, part of the increase in stock price also, they announced a 10-to-1 split.
10-to-1 split.
And so the expensiveness of it is going to get, I mean, they'll be cheaper than
most
tech stocks.
$100 stock.
$100 a share. I mean,
if they keep going to be $200 stock in a week.
Yeah.
But I think it's at the end of this week is when it'll flip 10 for 1. So, and I would expect then another rise because then all of a sudden it becomes much more affordable.
Sure. Well, and the psychological component to this was $1,100 stock yesterday, and now it's $110.
Yeah.
Like, give me that all day. All other like rationale out the window. Just that alone can lead to, Walmart went through a stock split a while back, and we talked about how, it's people get fixated on the most recent high in terms of what the stock was trading for in terms of dollars, and all of a sudden you look up, it's trading for a half or a third or a tenth of that. It looks more affordable.
Sure.
Not more affordable. It looks like a better buy, even if it's not.
But to your point, the retail investor, the me's and you's of the world, I mean,
they're going to buy.
They can buy 10 shares at for what they could buy 1 share for a week ago.
It's a lot less daunting.
It is. Yeah. It is. So sure. I mean, and he flat out said the reason we're splitting is we want the average retail investor to be able to afford our stock.
So that's it.
That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Official. I'm a short Nvidia. I'm going all
It's about to drop 90%.
I'm gonna go home and tell Haley, hey, we're taking out a second mortgage. We're shorting Nvidia.
The opinions of the podcasters do not reflect.
Also, just to be clear, a stock split does not change the market cap of the company.
Absolutely.
Well,
nothing changes.
Last time, I gave my stock advice on the Tesla. I said sell Tesla and looked up the next week and it was up like 40%.
Yeah.
So
the Matt Walters Contra Fund.
Yeah, it's doing very poorly. All right. Well, I don't even know how to wrap it up. Good conversation. That was fun. We did have one comment from last week. We were talking about bankruptcy. So we talked about who does bankruptcy protect, and we had a comment that says it's intended to protect the people behind the corporation. Mr. JD?
I would probably disagree.
Okay.
Now, I think that's a byproduct, but I think the commercial bankruptcy laws are intended to protect the company. Mm-hmm. And then you could kind of say, therefore, customers and clients and employees. But I think the person's response, probably somewhat cynical. But no, I don't think the intended the intent was to protect
the
the owners and so forth. No, I do not.
The biggest bankruptcy news I saw in the past week was Antonio Brown. So, and my 14-year-old son. I mean, he may. Do
you still have his football card?
No, he's a little. Yeah. Anyways, but he made $90 million in the NFL and just declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I watched. Speaking of this, now we're just going down a tangent.
Sorry.
Broke on Netflix.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that?
It's a good show.
Yeah. If you want to get, I don't know, some entertainment about watching people spend millions and go broke, check it out.
But I mean, bankruptcy laws, just to kind of put a bow on this, are designed for good. They are to protect ultimately the consumer.
Well, like anything in our system, you have tax code.
Sure.
You have legal codes and laws and all these things that I think have good intent behind them to allow certain things, and people take that and
100%
manipulate it. That doesn't necessarily make it wrong, but they use it to their advantage. And so, do you have examples of people using it for personal protection? Sure.
Yeah.
But is that what it was ultimately and originally designed for? Probably not. And it's very different from, a 1 or 2 man shop owner group filing for bankruptcy than it is, a large publicly traded company.
Correct.
Right? Those executives, they've made their money.
Yeah.
Right? Whether they file bankruptcy or not is not necessarily protecting them personally. That's kind of
I agree. Well said. Well said.
So, anyways, like I said earlier, give us a like, subscribe. If you need help from the storms this past weekend, please do not hesitate to reach out. Email the podcast email, which is going to be in the footnotes here, or call the office. Just let us know what we can do. We'd love to love on our community over the coming week. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.